I'm Matt Fradd, and I'm from Australia. I flew all the way here 8 years ago to be with you today, and I married an American woman, and it's lovely. Yeah. For the last several years, I have travelled the country and different parts of the world speaking about pornography. It's a fun job. My mum's really proud. I think when people are like, so so what does your son do for a living? I think she says something like, he helps people. How? Just helps them. When I travel quite a bit to speak, and I'm usually asked the question by an unsuspecting passenger. That question, sure. What do you do for a living? And I feel sorry for them. They're strapped into a seat with no viable escape route. Yeah? And sometimes I'm just tired, so I try and, brush it off. I write about things, do some speaking. What on? Just stuff. What kind of stuff? Porn, okay? You happy? Now you got that out of me? Gin and tonic for this. That's what I do. And I get several reactions from folks. I had this one, a number of people just, kind of freak out at that point. And they go, oh, that's... Please don't speak to me. I had one lady, she must have been nervous, because this is what she said. She went, okay, I teach math. So it's sort of similar. No, it's not. It's not similar. Oh, you're a fun bunch. I've had the great joy and seriously, a privilege with working with not only those men and women who would say they've been hooked on porn, but also those in the industry, good people who have been Playboy producers and strippers and prostitutes and porn stars, And the story they tell me about the industry is one that I think is very different to the one the industry would have us believe. So in today's talk, what I'd like to do is share with you 10 common myths that we often believe about pornography and show why there's good reason to think that they're false. Now, the final myth is going to be, I can never be free of this. And in that part, it might be the most important part of the talk, I'm going to suggest with you some things that are very practical. Hands up if you remember The Truman Show. All right, good. Came out about 14 years ago. It was actually the very first date I ever went on with this young girl. We went to the Truman Show, and I was 17. First date ever, terrified, and we were sitting up the back. I used to dress all in black at the time. I think I had like a Megadeth shirt on, like a boss. And I remember as we were watching the Truman Show, I kept telling myself, put your arm around her, you idiot. But I was so scared. So I would make bets with myself. I'm like, all right, when Truman crosses the road, you're going to do it. Yeah! So close! Yeah! All right, so The Truman Show, for those of you who don't know, is about a man who was born into a world that he thinks is the real world, but is actually a fake one. It's a gigantic television studio with tens of thousands of video cameras that document his every move and then televise them for us, the public. It's like a reality TV that goes for 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. So everyone in his life are actors. His dad didn't really die in a boating accident. His wife didn't really love him, and so forth. And so long as he thinks this is the real world, then he's happy just to go along with things. It's only when Truman begins to become suspicious that maybe this is an illusion, a fantasy world, that he's then incentivized to break free. And that's my hope with this talk today. Before we look at these 10 myths, I think it's important that we first address what the problem isn't with pornography. Now, I would hope, since most of you are good Christian people, you already know this, but it's good to say anyway. Some people seem to argue as follows. Pornography is wrong. Pornography involves naked people having sex. Therefore, there's something wrong with either nudity or sex. And this, I hope you know, is mammothly fallacious, all right? That sex is good, that nudity is good, that breasts are good, that orgasms are good, okay? This is God's idea. So if you feel uncomfortable with it, take it up with him, right? In Genesis chapter 1, verse 28, we have the very first commandment from God to humanity in the Bible. Genesis chapter 1, verse 28. And what does he say? Well, God says to Adam and Eve, be fruitful and multiply. And as Peter Kraft once quipped, I do not think he meant grow pineapples and invent calculators. Like, if that's what your Bible says, throw it away. RSV Catholic edition. All right? Go to this. So sex is a good thing. Sexual desire, please hear me, is good. You're a young man in here, a young woman here, old man, old woman. I hope you experience sexual desire. I mean, if you were to say to me, I've never actually experienced sexual desire, and maybe you'll say something like, I've prayed my rosary every day, and now don't ever actually. Like, I know you know this, but there might be something profoundly wrong with you. Yeah, right? Don't see a priest, see a psychiatrist. Christianity is not about the annihilation of sexual desire, but about the orientation of it for the sake of love. Yeah, it's a good thing. Sexual desire says, this is my body given up for you. Lust says, this is your body taken by me. Wasn't that deep? You're welcome. Shall we proceed? What we're going to do is we're going to look at these 10 rather briefly. Much could be said about it. Much is being said about it. I'm writing some books on it, so there'll be further elaboration on it in the future. But we'll touch upon these 10 and then we'll open it up for Q&A and have a conversation, because I feel like I'm among friends tonight. Is that all right? I asked if I could have a whiskey. They said no. Thought this was supposed to be a Catholic university. That's it. All right, number 1, first myth. Let's just drive a stake through this myth. Only men struggle with porn. Please clap if you want people to shut up and stop saying that. All right.